Check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Online, on digital radio, and on 88 to 91 FM. In concert with Jo Whiley, BBC Radio 2.
It's a terribly long way to walk in these heels, I can tell you now. Good evening and welcome to the BBC Philharmonic studio in Salford. I'm Jo Whiley, and what a magical night we have lined up for you this evening. You're going to have a wonderful time. It was 26 years ago that the Pet Shop Boys released their debut album, and since then they've been perfecting the art of pop, pushing musical boundaries and constantly striving to challenge themselves, and this evening is no exception. Performing with the Pet Shop Boys tonight are the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra, led by Yuri Torchinsky and a number of special guests, but I'll leave it to Neil to introduce those. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to tonight's conductor, Dominic Wheeler.
Tell me now you don't disagree. Thank you very much. What a fantastic night. Lovely to see you all. Now let me just set the scene for the millions of listeners at home and around the world listening on BBC Radio 2. If we start stage left, we'll see from electronic Johnny Marr. We'll then see Ben Adams and Pete Gledel, who are running our equipment tonight. Next to them is Mr. Chris Lowe of the Pet Shop Boys. Carrying on round the room, the Manchester Chamber Choir. And in front of them, the mighty BBC Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Dominic Wheeler. Now, tonight we're going to be performing... What we did was we went through our entire catalogue of songs, and we've cherry-picked songs, most of which we originally recorded with an orchestra. Sven Helbig, who some of you may know, did the orchestrations for our ballet, The Most Incredible Thing, has pulled together all of the arrangements, sometimes based on original arrangements, sometimes totally new arrangements. And the next song I'm going to perform is going to be the first one with Johnny on guitar. And Johnny actually recorded on this with us when we made it in 1990. And the song is from Behaviour, and it's called This Must Be the Place I Waited Years to Leave. Thank you. That was something pretty powerful. The next song is one which has never had an orchestra on it before, but it does tonight. So let's see how Can You Forgive Her sounds with an orchestra. Thank you very much. Okay, it's time for the new single. Again, not recorded with an orchestra. It's got one tonight. It's called Memory of the Future. Seem to be inevitable to me, like a memory of the future. I was and will be with you over and over again. I keep tasting that sweet Madeline, looking back at my life now and then, asking if not later than when. It's taken me all of my life. It's taken me all of my life to find you. It's taken me all of my life. It's taken me all of my life to find you. You unlock the past, so many scenes moving fast. At last, the right conclusion, or at least a sweet illusion. Over and over again, I keep tasting that sweet Madeline, looking back at my life now and then, asking if not later than when. It's taken me all of my life. It's taken me all of my life to find you. It's taken me all of my life. It's taken me all of my life to find you. You seem to be a perfect memory of the future, reminding me how life is meant to be. Over and over again, I keep tasting that sweet Madeline, looking back at my life now and then, asking if not later than when. It's taken me all of my life. It's taken me all of my life to find you. It's taken me all of my life. It's taken me all of my life to find you. It's taken me all of my life. It's taken me all of my life to find you. It's taken me all of my life to find you. It's taken me all of my life to find you. That is our 46th single, you know. This is a song we wrote almost 10 years ago with Adam F. and DJ Fresh. It was arranged by Anne Dudley, and it's called Miracles. Clouds drift away when they see you. Rain wouldn't dare to fall near you here. Miracles happen when you're around. Somehow the grass is much greener. Rivers flow faster and cleaner. Being with you, no matter where. Sunlight breaks through, and suddenly there's a bluer sky. Whenever you're around, you always bring a bluer sky, a brighter day. deeper and longer. The scent of the jasmine is stronger. Stray dogs don't bite, birds start to sing. Lightning then strike, you suddenly bring a bluer side whenever you're around. You always bring a bluer sky, a brighter day. Birds fly even higher in the sky. Sun shines, it's a new day. It's a new day. Being with you, no matter where, sunlight breaks through, and suddenly there's a bluer sky whenever you're around. You always bring a bluer sky, a brighter day. Birds fly even higher in the sky. Sun shines, it's a new day. Sun shines, it's a new day. The Manchester Chamber Choir joined us for that. And they're going to sing on the next song, which is from the new album Elysium. And it's called Leaving. I know enough's enough and you're leaving. You've had a lot of time to decide on your freedom, but I can still find some hope to believe and love. When we were making our second album, actually, we had this song we'd written a few years beforehand called Jealousy, the first song we ever wrote. And we announced to our manager we wanted the famous Italian film composer, Ennio Morricone, to do the orchestral arrangement for it. It was going to be our first venture with an orchestra. Anyway, Ennio Morricone was approached and turned down this gig, but his manager came over and gave us an old song he'd written in the 1970s, and he said they can do whatever they like with this. So we kept Ennio Morricone's chorus, and then we wrote a verse and some other bits and pieces for it, and it was called It Couldn't Happen Here. And we sent it back to Ennio Morricone, who then refused to arrange it for orchestra. So we'd just seen the film Blue Velvet, and we asked Angelo Badalamenti, who'd written the music for Blue Velvet, to arrange it. And then the day came for the orchestra to play on it, but there was a problem with the booking. We had no orchestra. So a guy we worked with called Blue Weaver arranged the whole thing, every single part separately, on what's called a Fairlight. And so we've never actually played this with a live orchestra until tonight. And of course it became the title song from our film, It Couldn't Happen Here, or as the American trade paper Variety headlined its review, It Shouldn't Happen Anywhere.
Loud and woke up everyone.
Johnny is going to play an acoustic guitar on this song, which is from the new album Elysium. It was originally arranged for orchestra by a young American film composer called Joachim Horsley, and the song is called Breathing Space.
Your heart is out of luck and you're feeling left behind. Seems the fates aren't on your side, and a fog has left you blind. When the pressure's falling different ways, find you longing for some empty days. I stop for some breathing space. I pause in the public grace. Take time from all the time it takes to make up for all the big mistakes. I gotta get out. I gotta get out. When your life runs out of steam and you need a little time, if your muse is out of line, you might need an extra rhyme. When your head escapes your head and waits in the growing queue that life creates, I stop for some breathing space. Dive out from the public grace. Return to a private place. I know it's there just in case. I gotta get out. I gotta get out. Far, far away I'm going. Far, far away. I gotta get out. I gotta get out. There's a place beyond this world where the mountains meet the sky. It's a different state of mind, like a dream when you can fly. Can I tell you this in confidence? I need to regain that old innocence. I stop for some breathing space. Dive out
you. We originally recorded New York City Boy with David Morales in New York, hence New York City Boy, really. And David got the legendary disco arranger Vince Montana to do a fabulous string arrangement, which was recorded in Philadelphia. And Sven Helbig has tonight made this into a bigger and bolder arrangement. And so here we have New York City Boy. That's definitely the Broadway version of that, I think. Here's a song we've never performed live before. It was recorded in the mid-90s for the album Bilingual and was then arranged by Chris Cameron for orchestra. And again, Sven has made it bigger for this wonderful, mighty BBC Philharmonic. And it's called The Survivors.
gardens into warmth and light. Face the music, it's never easy. Forget the chill. Face the future, it's never easy. Find the will. If life is worth living, it's got to be done. One might be forgiven for thinking it's a life on the run. Many roads will cross through many lives, but somehow you survive. Look around, picture what's in store. Is this the final edit, or is the subject now a bore? Don't shrug your shoulders. You can't ignore that life is worth living. It's still worth the damn. One might be forgiven for thinking it's something of a sham. Many words may make it sound contrived, but somehow we're alive. The survivors are heads bound. The survivors have memorials for our faces in the crowds. Teachers and artists and Saturday girls in suits or sequins, between sets and pearls. If life is worth living, it's got to be right as a means of giving, not as a race to be won. Many roads will run through many lives, but somehow we'll arrive. Many roads will run through many lives, but somewhere we'll survive.
Thank you. That's the Kimberly Leston. You may know that we wrote a musical. It was called Closer to Heaven, and it was over 10 years ago now. Although, in fact, there's a new production in Australia very soon. In the middle of the second half of Closer to Heaven, there's a big ballad called For All of Us, which we recorded for our Nightlife album, but for some reason we didn't release it. And so we're going to perform it live here for the first time, arranged by Sven Helbig, For All of Us.
There are people who think I lead a kind of charmed life with everything I need, but no pain or strife. If only they knew the absolute truth. unseen lies, the bitter tears I've cried, the days when I can't hide from hopelessness inside, the sad humiliation of knowing what you've done in a mad infatuation. We've went on far too long. After all that we've been through, only tears can tell the truth. I'm not crying just for you, I'm crying for me. Look around and see, I'm crying for all of us, for the lack of communication, secrets shared no longer, for my weak intimidation when I should have been much stronger, for the jealousy and shame that you were someone's plaything, for the love that survived the pain in spite of everything. After all that we've been through, only tears can tell the truth. I'm not crying just for me, I'm crying for you. What else can I do? I'm crying for all of us, for the impossibility of love in a world where sex is a cruel competitive sport, for the love this world rejects, for the ripples spreading wider, the friendships destroyed by suspicion and fighting, and the cover-ups employed. After all that we've been through, only tears can tell the truth. I'm not crying just for you, I'm crying for me. Look around and see, I'm crying for you, for me, for what we cannot be, for you and me, well baby, for all of us. For all of us.
Well, that's two songs in a row we've never done live before. And here comes a third. We have been writing a rather epic piece of music called A Man from the Future, which is about the brilliant mathematician and codebreaker Alan Turing, who lived and died not far from here in Manchester. This year is the centenary of Alan Turing's birth, and as you probably know, he was the man who invented what has become known as the computer, with a machine called the universal machine, which could be applied to any problem. In the Second World War, he helped to break the Enigma code, and after the Second World War, he invented computer programming. He was also a homosexual, and he was arrested by the police for homosexual activity, and it was regarded as rather humanitarian, his punishment. Rather than be sent to prison, he was injected with female hormones. He also lost his security clearance, and so he wasn't allowed to do some of his work. And he committed suicide in 1952, I think. Anyway, in this piece we tell the full story. It has a narration. And we're going to perform one piece from it tonight, which is when Alan Turing has become a postgraduate student, or has just finished being a student at Cambridge, and he's now doing research. And he dreams up the idea of the universal machine. And so this song is actually called He Dreamed of Machines. In Grantchester that summer, he lay in a field and dreamed of machines. He lay in a field and dreamed of machines. Logic of pure mathematics. you. I should say that the words for that are edited from the magnificent biography of Alan Turing by Andrew Hodges. This next song is from the new album Elysium. It's a co-write, as I've said before, with the composer George Friedrich Handel, based on his Eternal Source of Light Divine. But we call it Hold On.
Hold on, hold on. There's got to be a future. Hold on. The sun will melt away, the sky so dark decay, and summer, spring and autumn, winter melt into a single moment, poured into the past, like a stream run dry at last. Hold on, hold on. There's got to be a future. Hold on. heart stone. Just you wait till I get you home. Got no future and got no past. Here today, built to last in every city and every nation, from Lake Geneva to the Finland station. Our western town and down wild, the eastern boys and western girls. Our western town and down wild, eastern boys, western girls. West End girls. West End girls. Girls. West End girls. Girls. East End boys. Boys. West End girls. Girls. West End girls.
Thank you. Oh, we're nearly at the end. So I'm going to thank again, he's going to play out the next song anyway, Johnny Marr. The Manchester Chamber Choir. The BBC Philharmonic. Conducted by Dominic Wheeler. Playing piano, keyboards and synthesizers, Chris Lowe. My name is Neil Tennant. And Chris and I are the Pet Shop Boys. We're going to end with a new song, but it's quite anthemic. It's called Requiem in Denim and Leopard Skin.
I thought it was like a
You've been fabulous.
Well, that was a very classy affair, a very highbrow in concert. Our thanks to everyone who made this sound so absolutely wonderful. The Pet Shop Boys and the choir and the orchestra, everyone gets a standing ovation. Thank you for being a great audience, and thank you one more time to the Pet Shop Boys. I will be chatting to Neil and Chris for a post-show review after this.
At the BBC, a series chronicling the history of iconic acts, drawn entirely from BBC Archive.
You could do one of your longer numbers. Feel free to do anything you like.
This week's At the BBC is all about a singer, and a great one at that.
A person distinctly alone, standing out from the crowd, if you like, you know. I feel in a sense that I have been there.
And as promised, Annie Lennox is here on this Sunday afternoon as our guest on Collector's Choice.
It's Thursday, so time to introduce you to another God of the Week, and it's Annie Lennox. Morning, Annie.
Good morning, Goddess, please.
At the BBC, a portrait of Annie Lennox, presented by Johnny Walker. Tonight from 10 on BBC Radio 2.
In a newspaper interview, Neil Tennant said that of all the singers he's been influenced by, with the exception of Bowie, they were women. Nina Simone, Billie Holiday, and the lady we're going to hear from next, it's Dusty Springfield.
Billy Ray was a preacher's son, and when his daddy would visit, he'd come along. When they gathered around and started talking, that's when Billy would take me walking. Out through the backyard we go walking. Then he looked into my eyes. Lord knows to my surprise, the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Yes, he was. Being good isn't always easy, no matter how hard I try. When he started sweet talking to me, he'd come and tell me everything is alright. He'd kiss and tell me everything is alright. Can I get away again tonight? The only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Lord knows he was. Yes, he was. How will I remember the look was in his eyes, stealing kisses from me on the slide, taking time to make time, telling me that he's all mine, learning from each other's knowing, looking to see how much we've grown, and the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Oh, yes, he was. The only one who could ever reach me. He was the sweet talking son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me. Yes, he was the son of a preacher. The only one who could ever move me. Sweet was the son of a preacher man. The only one who could ever.
Pet Shop Boys, how was that for you?
It went well. I enjoyed it a lot, actually. So we put a lot of work into it. So quite nerve-wracking. I noticed my hands were sweating a bit, and I had to keep wiping them on my jeans.
You played the piano very well in for all of us.
Oh, well, yes. That's the most. Once we got past that, I was all right.
That was your stressful moment, was it?
It was. Yeah, I've been dreaming about those chords.
Yeah. You said you were sleeping well earlier on today.
Well, today, I know. Last night I was, but it was misspent sleep. I should have been worrying.
Yeah. I mean, it looked incredibly stressful. From my point of view, I was watching the sound check, and it suddenly struck me the enormity of what you were doing today.
Yesterday it was rather nerve-wracking singing with them for the first time.
Yeah, how go on, talk us through that.
I just turned around, I suddenly saw them all in the choir, and I felt a bit I'm not worthy sort of moment, you know. But
and they're realising your music.
But actually, they were very nice. I kept chatting to I was beside the cellist, and I kept chatting to the cellist during the rehearsals, and they were all saying nice things. So.
And how does it feel, your songs coming out like that, seeing an orchestra and a choir singing your music?
Well, I love it. I mean, I told the story in the show that the first time we were going to have an orchestra was the song we wrote with Ennio Morricone, although we never actually met him. And it had to be done on a Fairlight in the end. And so we were always dying to do that. And the first song we ever did was with Trevor Horn, was Left to My Own Devices. And there's this massive orchestral arrangement. We were so big, we were actually slightly shocked by it. But now we've got used to it. And when you hear songs that you haven't done before, like For All of Us or The Survivors, and Sven Helbig, who did the arrangements for us, has really fleshed out the orchestral arrangements. They sounded really good. And then New York City Boy just sounds like it's in a Broadway musical. That was really a Leonard Bernstein moment, I think. And also West End Girls. He put this huge intro onto it. And the percussion break and Tonight's Forever, and things like that.
So when were your spine-tingling moments, Chris?
West End Girls sound particularly good with the choir. It sounded even more emotional than normal, I thought. And Hold On sounds like it's from a Broadway musical, which is always a good thing.
Sounded
I don't think I had time for my spine to tingle, really, though.
Did your spine tingle, Neil?
Oh, my spine tingled a bit in The Survivors, a bit in For All of Us. The end of Hold On. But it's so big at the end, and also it's a great moment where it goes from that into West End Girls. So that was pretty spine tingling. And also, actually, right early on in the performance, when Johnny Marr plays on This Must Be the Place I Waited Years to Leave, which he played on the album 21 years ago, amazingly, and it sounded so great. And also, he was lit and he looks really. He suddenly turns into Johnny Marr.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah,
he starts doing his moves.
But he looked like the rock legend that he is.
He looked like a rock legend. So when we needed a rock legend.
Yeah. Okay, so to sum up the whole evening, how would you do that, Chris?
A triumph.
It's good writing your own reviews, isn't it, Neil?
5 stars.
Well, an incredible privilege to do all of those songs, such an amazing orchestra and choir, and Johnny Marr in this great studio here. I mean, it's like going to Abbey Road or something like that. It's a really fantastic studio, and everyone's put so much work into it. I'm sort of slightly relieved it's over, but actually, I realised halfway through I was enjoying it.
Excellent. And the plan for the rest of the evening?
The rest of the evening...
Meet family and friends.
Meet family and friends.
Maybe a drink in the hotel bar.
A little tipple?
With some of the X Factor contestants who I've heard of.
Well, they stay in your hotel? No way. Who's there?
So I don't know. I've just heard this. So I don't know.
Okay, I'll be there looking with my camera.
I bet you watch X Factor.
I gave up on that ages ago. When Rylan was kicked out, that was it. It was all over for me.
All over.
Thank you so much for talking to us. It's been a fantastic evening. Do join me on Monday evening from 8 o'clock. We'll have Chris Salmon reviewing some new albums from Jules Holland, Tulisa, Took the Devil and Willie Mason. And if you've heard any of those, don't forget you can email me your reviews to jo.whiley@bbc.co.uk. Next Thursday, In Concert will be all about Robbie Williams, who'll be live from the BBC Radio Theatre in London, as well as listening to his performance. You'll also be able to watch the concert live via the website from 8 o'clock in the evening. But tonight, the evening well and truly belonged to the Pet Shop Boys. It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be here. Thank you for listening. Thanks to everyone who worked on this show, and good night from me here in Salford. Coming up next on Radio 2, Clark Peters presents The Louis Jordan Story.